Hello and welcome, I'm Bert the Stormtrooper, and today we're taking a look at Transformers G1 Classic Pretenders Bumblebee, and I love this toy. Originally released in 1989, he retailed for approximately $10, and Pretenders were a very, very funny and also fun line of Transformers, where the idea was that Transformers were had the ultimate disguise by pretending to be human. And then they took that human form and made it look like RoboCop. So I don't know how the disguise worked, but that was the whole idea. Now, classic Pretenders, originally the Pretenders didn't have classic characters like Bumblebee, Jazz, Starscream, Grimlock, those kind of guys there. So then later they came out with the classic Pretenders, which were those figures, or those characters rather. So this is Bumblebee, and I don't know. I've seen Master Force, which is where they had the Pretenders, and when they were in human form, they were just regular humans wearing suits that would later transform into their, turn into their little robot forms. So I really don't know where the armor came from, but none of the classic characters were ever in that cartoon. So here you got the shell form for Bumblebee. He does have a couple of weapons that he comes with. We'll go ahead and take a look at those. Now, the big gun here, as you saw, the weapon, both these weapons can be held by the big guy, by the shell here. But the big one here, this is intended for him and him only. Whereas the little one, you can see he's got the little double peg there. He's got double width on the peg there. So this can be held by him, and then also can be held by the smaller robot within later when we get him out. So there's both of these weapons. And take a quick look at that one, and then we'll set that one aside. So we'll set the weapons aside for now, and then let's take a look at the shell itself. The only other accessory that he comes with is the helmet. So there you go. There's the helmet. That's what to me, makes him look like RoboCop. It's just kind of crazy looking, but I love it. This is just such a fun figure. I have two classic Pretenders. I have this one, and I have Grimlock, and they're just such special figures to me. I never had them as a kid, and they are just so much fun. I love fiddling with these guys. I'm constantly taking them off the shelf and just kind of messing with them. The legs are kind of funny because of the way the toy works with the inner robot inside. They kind of needed to make the room, so you see how the legs don't separate. But in the back, it almost makes him look like he's wearing a skirt or a kilt or something, which is really weird and funny. But in the front, it doesn't look like that in the front. It does in the back. It's just kind of something like, well, why don't you just bring the look all the way around? I don't know. It was the 80s. They were trying new things, so what are you going to do? We'll go ahead and take off the helmet so you can take a look at the face. And so he's suffering from, it's just some guy's face. Nothing out of the ordinary about him. He is suffering from the classic, and I mean classic as in not the classic characters, but just the classic Pretenders symptom, which is paint rub-off. The hair has paint that's rubbed off, and the nose has paint that's rubbed off, and that's caused by the helmet, and you can see a lot of that paint in there. Nothing you can do about that. It just happens with time. Articulation for the shell is the arms move around, forward, backwards, all the way around. That is it. The head doesn't move, and the arms don't move. The entire shell is going to split in half from the top of the head all the way down to the bottom of the feet. So because of that, they couldn't give him any further articulation. And that's one of those things that I've always just kind of held this figure in my hand and just looked at it and try to think of ways that they could have given him some more articulation. I think they could have made the head a one piece and attached it to either the front or the back of the shell and made the head rotate. I think that could have been possible. The legs, with some creativity, they might have possibly been able to make rotating legs as well. But that's one of those things I like to just kind of hold this guy and try to figure out how they would have done that. But enough about the shell. Let's get into the inner robot. So you're going to split this guy in half. And you just kind of find a seam and just kind of pull them apart. And do hold them down this way. If you split them up like this, the robot's going to fall. So just kind of do it that way. That way the robot's still inside. And we'll set this guy aside. You can see the arms are attached to the front half of the shell. And you can see Bumblebee inside pretending to be a human. So you can just pop this guy off. And inside there's a little wheel wells right there. And that's where you're going to lay Bumblebee when you put him inside. You can go ahead and put the shell back together, and we'll give him his helmet, and we'll give him his big gun, and then we'll set him aside, and he can just be a dead husk over there. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring the legs in, bring the head in, and there we have Bumblebee in his classic VW mode. And yeah, I love this version of Bumblebee. And you know what? I know the shell's in the background, but let's just get zoomed in a little bit here on Bumblebee himself so we can get a better look. Love, love, love this version of Bumblebee. I like this version even more than the original G1. This actually looks like a Volkswagen. I own my first 3 cars were all Volkswagens. And I've had my very first one was a 71 Super Beetle in yellow. I am very familiar with all the details of Volkswagens. And yeah, this one, they went out of their way to put a lot of those details in here. He looks incredible. Love it, love it, love it. Real quick, just to compare him with the original, there you go. And sure, the original has some of the details of Volkswagens in there, but just proportionally and just all the way around, this guy looks so much better and so much more like a Volkswagen than the original one did. There you go. So here in Volkswagen mode, Bumblebee is approximately 3 inches long and about 1.5 inch tall. So, you know, he rolls just nicely. I love the big knobbed wheels that they gave him so that he can roll, I guess, off-road. I don't know. And he can also hold his weapon. He's got the little hole on the top there, and he's got the little tiny peg on his weapon here. So you can mount the weapon to the top of the vehicle, because you guys know how much I love that. I don't think that looks ridiculous at all. So, but you can do that if you wish. So let's back him up just a little bit. Yep, the other way. And let's get him transformed. Let's get the other guy back in the frame there. All right, let's put the weapon down. And to transform him, very, very simple. We're just going to pull the legs out and rotate them to form the feet, just like we did with the original figure. Now, this centerpiece of the hood, you're going to push that down, and it's going to come all the way around the back and just lay right there. Arms are going to flip forward, just like that. And then you're going to flip the head up, and there is Bumblebee in robot mode. And here in robot mode, Bumblebee's approximately 3.5 inches tall. Now, as far as articulation goes, sadly, not a whole lot to speak of. It's very G1 when it comes to that. So the arms can rotate all the way around. Pretty much the same articulation that the shell had. That's what we're looking at here. So just rotation at the shoulder, and that's about it. I guess you can say the head can look up and down a little bit, but not a whole lot. Let's look at the face. And again, they went I guess they went out of the way, or they paid close attention to detail here, and they made the head actually look like the character in the cartoon, which I really, really like. He's got these pylons next to his head, these kind of like shoulder pylons here. Those have always kind of bothered me. I've always wondered if there would have been another way to do this head. I really don't know. It bothered me a lot at first, but with time, they bothered me less and less. They don't bother me so much anymore. But still, again, I think this guy, it makes a better G1 Bumblebee than even the original G1 figure. We'll bring that guy in again. So, you know, as far as what I mean by that is as far as looking like the cartoon character, you know. This looks more like the cartoon Bumblebee than this guy ever did. So, yeah, this is definitely, as far as G1 Bumblebees go, this is definitely my favorite. Always has been. He can hold the weapon. He does have little holes in his hands, so you can give him his weapon once again. And there you go. So now he can hold his weapon and charge into battle, get captured, and need saved, because that's pretty much all he ever did, right? Just need saved and needed a reason for Optimus to go save him. So there you go. Classic Pretenders Bumblebee. I really enjoy this figure. I love Classic Pretenders. I really do. Again, not figures that I had as a kid. I've kind of been introduced to them as an adult, and I've been picking them up slowly, and I'm just really, really enjoying them a lot. So I think that about covers Transformers G1. Classic Pretenders Bumblebee. What did you think of this figure, and what would you like to see me review next? Let me know by leaving me a comment, give me some thumbs up, subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time.